Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alexis, and I am going to talk about me being officially diagnosed with autism. I got diagnosed about a month ago, and I had a burp. I'm sorry. I was diagnosed with autism about a month ago, and I guess I just want to kind of talk about the aftermath and how I feel about it, because I feel like I don't see too many people talking about this, or maybe it's kind of slipped my mind after all of the videos that I've watched. But I feel like people mainly talk about like what led them to getting the diagnosis, and what happened during the assessment. But I don't see a lot of people talking about like the aftermath of getting diagnosed and how they feel. But I think that so let me start from the beginning. So I got my diagnosis about a month ago, and the assessment was for three things. So autism was the main one because that was what I initially went to her to get diagnosed for. But during the interview process that we did before the official assessment, she suggested that I might have ADHD, which didn't shock me because my therapist had already said the same. And so now I'm starting to kind of connect things to ADHD as well, but I'm not completely sure if it is just related to autism or if it's related to ADHD, or like certain things, because ADHD and autism have like a lot of similar traits. And so it's kind of hard to differentiate which one is which. And not only that, but I think that I have inattentive ADHD. And so it's really difficult I believe, to diagnose that specific type. I didn't realize before, my therapist suggested that I had ADHD, that there are like three, I think, subtypes of ADHD. And so after learning a little bit more, I realized that, oh shit, like I probably have ADHD as well. But the clinician that I saw didn't feel comfortable diagnosing me with ADHD because I think she didn't have enough supporting evidence. I couldn't really remember a lot of things in my childhood that pointed towards ADHD, and I think that you have to have like certain experiences with ADHD in your childhood in order to be diagnosed as an adult, which may never happen for me. I might just have to, and that's fine if I never get an ADHD diagnosis, I think, because my main concern was the autism results, and I also was evaluated for PMDD, which I believe stands for premenstrual dysphoric disorder. If I'm incorrect, I will probably put that in like either the comments or the description. But yeah, I knew that I had PMDD for a long time. I think I've known for a couple of years, and I just didn't, for whatever reason, I just never brought it up to my primary care doctor because I kept forgetting. And so I had mentioned it during the interview process, and so she put that on the list as well. So I was officially diagnosed with autism level 1 and PMDD. And after getting those results, like specifically the autism diagnosis, I felt a sense of relief, because I've tried to get like diagnosed in the past for things, and those things were more physical than I would say like mental. And so I went through a lot of like gaslighting from doctors, being told that a lot of my symptoms were because of my anxiety and depression, which I feel like are typical labels that women get whenever they go to the doctor to try to get diagnosed with something. And it turns out it was something else entirely. But every time I went, the test results were always normal. And I went through that for months, having to get like tested being tossed around from doctor to doctor, and people not really taking me seriously and just looking at me as like as if I was a waste of time, because they just thought all of these things were in my head. And so yeah, that was a very depressing and grueling experience. And so I typically try to avoid going to the doctor if I don't have to, especially if it's to get a diagnosis for anything. So that was like one of the reasons why I felt immediately relieved that it wasn't like obviously all in my head, that I was indeed autistic. And then I think afterwards I just kind of felt like I was going through a grieving process, and I still think that I'm in that grieving process. I also have like a lot of imposter syndrome, and I thought that that would change after getting my diagnosis, but it just seems about the same as it was before I got my diagnosis, even though I've gone, like, I feel like I need to get a second opinion, even though I know that it's not necessary. And that is, I feel like that's also just related to my autism as well. But yeah, I feel like having to accept that I do have a disability is really difficult for me. I think because especially as like a Black woman, we're basically taught to like push through the things that we go through and to just continue. I don't know what I'm saying, but I think you guys, if you're Black and you're a woman, you know what I'm talking about. But we're always taught to be strong and to kind of push through whatever we're going through at that time to kind of come out on the other side. And I definitely think that that's definitely a bad way to, like, we never prioritize rest. And I think that in this day and age that is changing, but it's a very slow change. But like, I know for a fact that me pushing through things have only eventually made me worse. And I didn't understand why. And now that I know that I'm autistic, it is making a lot of sense. Even though I think if I didn't have autism, it would still make sense that, you know, I would be struggling. But me being autistic just kind of makes it worse. So I do look back on like certain events in my life and realizing that it probably took me some time to get through them because I have autism and I just didn't have that piece of the puzzle at the time to explain things. So like I struggled a lot at some point in school when I was going to community college. That was like a really tough time. I also lost my grandmother around that time, and so I think I just didn't really care about a lot. And I just kind of had to push through it. And I think a lot of the things that I've done in my life is basically just me going through the motions and doing what I was supposed to do instead of like what I felt like I wanted to do. And I feel like even now I still kind of feel that way. But I'm trying to take agency over my life and start doing things in a way that I want to do them. Because at the end of the day, I'm the one who's going to have to live this life, and it's going to affect me and not the other person. So, yeah, I think that that's something that I have like reflected on after getting diagnosed with autism. And then, what else did I want to say? I don't know. This might be actually like multiple parts because I feel like I have a lot to say and just a lot to reflect on when I think about like things that I've experienced in the past and now after being diagnosed starting to make a lot of sense, in terms of like also relationships that I have or don't have, because currently I don't have any friends, and a lot of that is kind of down to me and just me kind of keeping people at a distance. And talked about this a little bit during the assessment where I basically said that I felt like having friends is like a lot of work, and also like romantic relationships as well, I feel like are a lot of work, and I don't feel like I have the energy to put into like friendships and relationships, romantic relationships, because I'm kind of I can't think of the term, and I can't talk right. Conserving. You guys know what I'm talking about. But I have to like conserve all of that energy for me and not for like the people around me. And I feel like in a lot of ways that makes me feel selfish, but it's what I have to do in order to survive at the moment. And I think that eventually I will probably be able to have relationships, but I think I'm kind of just at a point in my life where I just need to put myself first and stop worrying about what everyone else wants, because it's slowly killing me. And yeah, I feel like I just kind of went on a tangent and went from one topic to like other topics that I didn't plan on covering in this video, but I feel like I need to end it here before I kind of go on another tangent. And this is why it's taken me almost a month to like upload a video, because I feel like every time my perfectionism, I think, is kind of getting in the way of me uploading. And so I think the only way to push through that is to just by uploading. So I'm going to upload this video. Hopefully this all made sense. If you can relate to like some of the things that I talked about in this video, let me know in the comment section. And also just let me know like what you kind of struggle with after getting an official diagnosis of being autistic, and maybe how you're doing now. But yeah, anyway, I love you guys, even though I don't know you. I hope you guys have a good day, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.